I don't
I
know.
can see something. It's just all dark.
Okay.
Go to a different window.
Okay, here. Can you see this bad boy?
Yep.
Okay. Now, what we got going on here is this going to be in regards to a court case that I won that I got all the proof on. Okay. So what we're going to be looking at is the actual citation that was given to me. Okay. And this citation, as you'll see up here, is in Battleground. If I can get this bad boy then, I'm going to put that on my.
Can you zoom in to expand it out to the maximum of the window?
Is this better?
A little bit more, one more click. Oh, that's maybe a little too much. One click back.
Well,
Go back one click.
You think going back a little?
That's fine, actually. We can just leave it there. That looks pretty good. That's good.
Okay. Okay, so this is going to be a traffic ticket that I got. I got pulled over. I ain't got no ID, okay? I ain't got no license. I ain't got no insurance. I ain't got no registration on this bad boy, okay? I ain't got nothing. We're driving around our motor home. We went out and did a quick camping trip with the fam, okay? One night. As you can see here, no valid operator's license. Let's
real quick, your camera on you is down. We can't see the top of your head. If you could just move your camera, move your physical camera, your actual physical camera up a little bit.
Yeah.
Up. Can you move it up?
I can't do it like that.
Okay, you'll just need to scoot back. Just scoot back a little bit from and then there is pretty good. Can you see yourself on the camera? Because your head's getting cut. There you go.
Now I can. I see what you're saying.
Keep popping. It's good.
Okay. All right. So now we're here. All right. So you got up at the very top, this left-hand corner, you'll see the case number. Starts with a 28 and ends with 1739. You'll see it's for no valid operator's license. And looks like we got an appearance day right here. That was for August or September 1st. And now we're going to keep going. So this is all scanned in. Now we're going to the next document. Okay, let me see if I can. I'm going to have to do a view continuous scroll. Okay, so we got the ticket, right? So then we show up in the municipal court. And this was on the 22nd. And I think
the one that you sent me the audio on.
Yeah, you got the transcript. Yeah.
So just so the listeners know, he didn't want me to share it, so I won't. But there was two different. There was one was an arraignment or something, and one was the actual case, the actual hearing. Mm-hmm. And there's audio files that he sent me, and I listened to both of them. Pretty short. I'm amazed how short they were, like 20 minutes each, 25 minutes. But anyways, go ahead and continue. Yeah, no, in that situation on this court case or on this court date, I went in suited, bro. I went in my 3-piece. I'm talking about blue and all. I'm talking about, man, I was flying this thing. And when I showed up, I had the briefcase and all, bro. I came in looking fresh. And one of the attorneys, bro, asked me, one of the attorneys in the hallway, she asked me, she goes, "What law firm are you from?" And I was like, "Oh man, I got it. That's the whole confidence level just rose so quick. That's great.
And then that same attorney, after I got done speaking, and they, because they cut it abruptly, they didn't want me to go too far. As I'm walking off, that attorney was like, "Next," and she looks at me, and she goes, "Great job," like that, and I'm like, "Hell yeah, bro!" So the confidence, man. It was great feeling, bro. I'll tell you that much. All right, so this is at the hearing notice and pretrial release order. As you'll see, the case number again is the same, 1739. You'll also see here, for some reason, they wrote pro se, so they wanted to do that. Now, when I'm in court, you'll also note the pretrial release conditions: no driving without valid license and insurance, as you'll notice. And the date was on 9/1. Okay. Now, what you'll also notice down here, again, you'll see it says defendant pro se in person. So we did all this in person. Now, this is my waiver to a right of an attorney. Okay. Again, the case number 1739. What you'll notice is I will never in court say that I understand. If they say you understand, I will say I don't understand at all. I don't understand whatsoever. I can comprehend. I comprehend what you're saying, right? And so what they wrote down here was comprehend. I'm not signing anything, so they wrote comprehend. So that was pretty cool in that regard. You'll also see right here 1739 The violation date, again, no valid driver's operators, and then the notice of case setting. So again, the arraignment was on September the 1st, and that's when we did everything. This was pretty much our first meeting. Everything happened in one day. And then what you'll notice after I got done speaking, I had filed my motions, my notice of abatement, and the memorandum in support of abatement. And we'll go through that in just a second. Not all of it, but I do want to touch some points on that. But when I submitted those a week beforehand, they had it. So they got everything. And when I came in, what I usually do is I read who I am and that I'm a special appearance and all that stuff. And I start to go into these points. And when I did so, they didn't interrupt me really, but they did ask some questions. And I pretty much, they knew what was up. They knew what time it was. Like, y'all ain't going to hit me up. So the same day, what you'll notice is that the DA ordered a dismissal. So as soon as we get done speaking, or maybe even as we're speaking, and I'm saying what I'm saying, they went ahead and just dismissed everything without prejudice on the same day that I showed up.
Without prejudice or with prejudice?
Without prejudice.
Okay.
So, even so it's not with prejudice, I think that without prejudice is perfectly fine because I ain't heard nothing from them. And I ain't going to, okay? And I think the reason...
Oh, yeah, I don't think they'll bring it back. No.
They'll never bring it back. And I have no contracts with the state. Right. So if they're maybe cashing out on that in the back end, and, if they are dismissing without prejudice and maybe that has something to do with them being able to cash out on the back end, hey, I ain't tripping. Get your money, man. I'm out. Deuces. So and then, of course, they left me a little note right here saying, how would you like to proceed with your other infractions? Right. Because I hadn't filed anything yet on those. So that's pretty cool. And then this is where you'll see that I did the filing. So about a week prior, this one is September 13th. We met.
My screen's still on the yellow.
On the yellow one?
Yeah. It's been on the yellow one this whole time. Sorry. Was it supposed to be something else?
Well,
there we go. Now I see a white one. There we go.
Okay. So these are what I teach as far as the right to travel on my channel. And we go through all of these motions. So this motion to strike is something that's pretty cool if you want to try and submit it real quick because you think they're really faulty on their case. They really don't have a lot. You can file this and see if they'll accept it just easily. Because when you come into those aspects as far as like, I like to really litigate. I like to get in there and talk, bro. I like to flex a little bit because I think the more you flex and show up, well, first off, showing up for court is going to keep a warrant away. Okay. So like just show up to court because that'll make at least you not get arrested. And showing up to court, they're going to place a judgment. Maybe it's, they want, if you lose, you can't handle yourself well. It's just money on the back end. It's a debt collection. But I mean, if you got a license and you try and keep it, I can get why you might want to pay it. I don't have any contracts, so don't worry about it. So, but these motions to strike are very cool because you can hit them for objection for lack of ratification and commencement, being there's no claim. Going into detail on that. There's no corpus delicti. Okay. So crime is a breach of laws or governing authority. While this alleged offense or violation was a violation of the law, it was not a crime. So it has to be a crime. There's no corpus delicti. Okay. There's nobody complaining against you. There's no plaintiff. The aspect that the cops can write someone a ticket is like, that's what it falls into. Like all of these meanings in relation to corpus delicti and all these aspects tied that they can't really be a complainant because they actually work for the corporation. There needs to be a verified complainant. There needs to be someone of substance of we of the people to complain against you for some kind of violation to even be brought about and against you in the first place. There has to be some kind of nature and cause. And there ain't no nature and cause, right? So we get into really good detail on these type of things. And then if you feel like you needed to go deeper on, any kind of pullovers or anything like that, that's when we file a notice and demand for abatement. And you have a quick, how many points do we got here? 14 different points that we got to that we present to the court. Right off the bat for the judge to look at or the DA prosecutor to look at. And then we have a whole memorandum that I think is like this bad boy, 21 pages. And it goes into detail on the right to travel and all the case law that's in support of that. And it really gets deep because once you start to understand that it's already been ruled upon before they kind of just, I don't know where it really got changed again because I mean, we got quotes that come out that strictly state, oh geez, where am I at here? If I stop this and come back over, we got a whole bunch of case law that strictly states that you have the right to travel without any forced insurances, driver's license, anything whatsoever. Your right is granted to you, period. And I do know that there's case law, recent case law, Supreme Court even, where they're presenting their right to travel and they're getting shot down. And that's always, it's a mystery to me because I'm out here winning, bro. So I don't understand how it even gets to the level where people are losing. I guess maybe they're not presenting themselves well. They're not bringing up the right topics. Maybe they're going strictly after just the right to travel rather than going over more foundational principles of no corpus delicti, no verified complainant, those aspects. And they're trying to just attack the system more. I think you got to be on the foundational aspect a little bit more. And that's how I play it. And that's how I teach it. But, you know, the experiment went really good. We did like 18 months last year and of the right to travel. And I pulled over a lot. I ain't gonna lie. I got pulled over a lot. But I never got arrested.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They always let me go. I drove off with my car. I didn't get my car towed.
That's cool. That's a cool point.
Yeah. I mean, but I think it's how I presented myself. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have.
That's what I think too.
So I
think the way you present the info is literally. I'm starting to believe it's more important than even the goddamn shit of what you produce. To be honest with you, you could produce fucking anything because I wouldn't necessarily go in the same direction that you've gone. The direction that I would go is that I'm not a resident. I'm not a resident of the state of California, right? Mm-hmm. So if I signed up for a driver's license, I'd be going to prison because it would be perjury because I'd have to sign under penalty of perjury that I'm a resident of state of California. I've never been a resident of state of California, so I don't like to commit felonies, officer. I actually enjoy the law very much, so I'm not a resident of any of the 50 states. And if you look up the definition of the word state in most places, it includes the District of Columbia as the 51st state. So I always tell them, you know, I'm not a resident of any of the 50 states, and I'm also not a resident of what's considered a state, even though it's really not, of the District of Columbia. Mm-hmm. But the thing is that basically, as far as I can tell, what they're doing is because you signed up as a resident of state of California, the officer is writing a complaint, which just means a lawsuit. So there's the officer is suing you as a private security officer on behalf of the business called State of California, of which you said you're a part of.
Correct. Contractual agreement.
So that's to me, it's very, very simple. It's just a matter of I don't have the right to have a driver's license. I mean, even if I wanted to have one, I can't get one. That's the way I would say it to the officer, because that's the truth. You know, I'm not lying to anybody.
Now, I really do think, though, even though I have proven myself as far as being able to get wins in court, several wins in court now, responses back from judges, you know, when I've sent over these abatements and submit them into the court with the clerk, you know, I'll stipulate on the bottom, you know, you need to respond to me, you know, say like, respond to me before the court case gets started. And I've had a couple judges actually respond. They actually give an opinion in writing of things. And what that has done is it actually has improved my abatements. Right? Because I see where they're reading and saying, hey, well, you said this. And it's like, you're right. My terminology was wrong there. Mm-hmm. I will correct it for next time, buddy. Thanks. Right. And so, again, it comes with experience. It comes with just knowing, again, that you are top authority. All power is inherent in you. The line of authority goes the great creator, whatever you call that, man. Okay. Then the government. Okay. Then it goes the states. Then it goes the counties, then the cities. So those police officers that pulling you over at the cities, they're at the very bottom of the totem pole, very bottom. They really have no power, but you can't act crazy because they got the ego now. Have you ever? You remember that? I don't know if you've ever heard of this.
Well, real quick, the most depressing thing about all that is that there's two different Americas here. We got the United States of America. You know, in the old original, what we call, or what even they call now on the Department of State website, de jure. So the original de jure pre-1871 non-incorporated government, the federal government had almost no power, and the state government is where all the power was, and the sheriff was the ultimate power of all ultimate powers. And now there's so much confusion within the statutory system because now it's the federal government has all the power at the top, and then the fake incorporated versions of the states actually have less power. But really, what you just described is the truth of how the statutory system is. But in the original de jure system, it's actually the polar opposite. You actually have the federal is the lowest point of power. They only have jurisdiction over commercial activity in between the states, and even that's going to be hard for them to get because the sheriff has to give it to them. And then below that, you have the state, and then you have this, and you have the city, and then the guys at the very, very bottom, the local sheriffs, actually have by far the highest amount of power. So the statutory system is a complete flip of the de jure system.
Yeah, I totally agree all the way. I think that's a travesty in itself.
Yeah.
And it just comes on lack of education. It just comes on lack of knowledge of what the truth is. And again, that boils back down to history. Because if you don't know your history, how are you going to be able to get to the truth of anything? Do you know that I think it was DEA or something like that. He was an ex-DEA drug cop. And then he went and started tricking cops on drug houses that were in homes. He was just setting them up. Do you know about that guy?
No.
Okay, you ain't never heard about him. Barry something. Barry something. I don't know. But anyways, there was another guy who was very similar to him. I think he used to be a sheriff or some kind of cop agency type of thing. His name was Eddie Craig. And Eddie Craig back in the day was early on on Alex Jones' show, back when they used to pull out the slide and actually do it.
Oh, he's that Texas ex-sheriff.
Yeah,
I saw a video of him recently. I was like, why has nobody told me about this guy? This guy's fantastic. He's a little bit angry, but not too much. It's like a little pressurized bullet, that guy, you know. But man, his info is fantastic, and his delivery is really good.
It is. Now, what I will suggest to anybody that's going to do the right to travel is to understand how to speak to these policemen if they do pull you over. Even if you're driving normal, you should take this and use this. It's beneficial for you, period. Okay? It's the Eddie Craig right to travel script, I think, or it's just travel script.
Yeah. He has a whole script.
He has a whole script, and that bad boy is amazing. You can copy it, put it in your phone, in your notepad, okay? It's not very hard. You can keep a laminated copy with you if you need to. Ask the questions just like you want. It's perfect. It works wonders because what it does is it puts yourself in a position of power and knowing and them on the defense. They are now, because normally the cops come up on offense, but when you ask the right questions, boy, do they go on the defense really quick because they're all on camera these days. So using that Eddie Craig script has really helped me in just my delivery as far as how I operate verbally while I'm in the car. Of course, I got a bunch of videos that I've being inside the car and talking to cops, and they're pretty good. But then another
all on
thing,
the channel. All on the channel.
No, I ain't even got them on the channel. I probably should upload them just so people see my experience on how I'm doing.
I wish you would. We need more. You know, there's so many channels that pick up these breaking in the windows, crazy screaming sovereign citizen. Well, those are the ones that get a lot of views, you know, obviously because there's a lot of drama there, right?
Yeah.
I always tell people, I said, the calm ones where you're just having a nice conversation, it's just never going to be the kind of views that you're going to get on those crazy ass hammer smashed Windows videos. It's just never going to happen. But it sure would be nice to see a lot more of them and have a lot more of them and to have a lot more of them being shared, you know?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'll upload them. All right. So let me see here. Also, another component that really helped me was Carl Miller. And I know you know about old Carl Miller.
Now, real quick, the Eddie one, if I remember correctly, it's kind of like roll the window down just a little bit. You don't say much, blah, blah, blah. When I see your videos, I don't see any of that. I see the fucking polar opposite. I see that fucking smile, and I don't know if I was a cop, I wouldn't know whether to smash your fucking face in with a nightstick or to give you a high five. You know what I mean? Like,
they say that you have. There's equal and opposites to everything, right?
Yeah.
Okay. There's dark and a light. So I don't know. Do you want to hit the other one? You want to do the other one real quick?
Yeah, because when I see you, I don't see Eddie in what you're doing at all. I see.
I'm already out the car though. At this point, I'm out the car. So
but I don't know, man. I mean, the reason why I'm not big on the Eddie thing personally, because Well, it's okay. I love his info, but I'm not so sure if I'm a huge fan of the script, because he's like, you don't say much, you keep your mouth shut, you ask for your lawyer, you roll the window down just a little bit, this and that. I think everyone should choose what they want to do. I think there's different styles. I think your style is very different from Eddie's, and I think my style is very different from both yours and Eddie's. So I don't know. I think everyone can just choose whatever they want, but my style.
No, I agree with you.
My style is very simple. It's just if I could get a driver's license, I would, but I don't want to go to prison. I don't qualify to get one. Which I like to say things that no one's ever fucking heard before too, because there's nothing I want to do that could get me classified in the sovereign citizen category for any reason. Not that I'm like scared of it. It's just a tactic. The way I think about it in my head, if I can keep myself away from that, then we're in a logical thinking discourse. The second he pins on that and places you in that classification, the amount of logical thinking that individual is going to be doing goes down by like 90% or more. They just shut off all facility of logic, right? Yeah. So they pull me over. My window's all the way down. I've never been pulled over because I have a whole other thing where it's like I feel like once you understand this stuff and you're ready for it and you want it and you're going to have fun with it and you're just driving down the road at 140 miles an hour for whatever reason, and then also LA for whatever reason, it just, I don't know. I just never get in trouble. But if I got pulled over, window all the way down. How you doing? Good to talk to you, officer. License and registration, please. Oh, I don't qualify for one of those, officer. What do you mean? And I have diplomatic plates, right? So I would say, well, I'm not a resident of any of the 50 states. I'm also not a resident of the District of Columbia. I'm actually just here visiting. I'm actually what's called an official guest as per 18 U.S.C. 112. I'm actually a diplomat who's actually here on non-commercial kind of private nonprofit duties that I'm doing here. And I would say, I don't qualify for registration, I don't qualify for plates, and I don't qualify for a driver's license because it requires that you be a resident of one of the 50 states or the District of Columbia. So what I've done is I've gone to the federal level at the FMSCA, and at the federal level, I do qualify to get what's called a private motor carrier DOT number through a foreign trust. And I have all that documentation for you here. And then for identification purposes, I'm going to present to you my passport card. I do have a legal passport. And that's basically all I would do. And if they ask me any questions at all, it's just, officer, I don't qualify for registration. I don't qualify for insurance because you have to have a driver's license in order to get insurance. And I don't qualify for a driver's license. So if you attack me for not having insurance, what you're doing is you're attacking me for having not committed a felony. Because if I sign the documentation to get the driver's license, I would be committing a felony. So you're telling me that I'm wrong for not committing a felony in order to have insurance. Is that what you're telling me? Are you attempting to coerce me into performing a felony? Oh, no. You see, that's how I would spin the conversation. It's very simple. There's nothing to talk about. I don't qualify to get any of those things, and I would be a felon, and I would be facing serious jail time if I attempted to get any of those items. You see? Mm-hmm. Obviously, it's going to fuck their skull, but what I'm saying is that it's just very, very, it's very, very calm. It's very, very simple. I'm not going to prison, officer. I actually like to follow the law. Because I'm not a resident of any of the 50 states of the District of Columbia, I don't qualify to get any of those things. If I could get them, I would get them, but I can't get them. I don't qualify.
I think what's really great about that whole aspect as far as the avenue that you've gone down and been able to accomplish thus far is that a lot of these cops, once they get some time and they're in, they see this, they know, they become familiar. And they know that if they push too far, it can get problematic with those who do know, right? So the way that you carry yourself with all of your documentation allows you to move in a capacity to where they probably won't issue you any citations whatsoever, right? Because you got it on deck. And I think,
well, I also have a trademark. My name is trademarked. So the first thing I would do if they even tried to give me a citation at all, if they even put my name on the citation, it would be a federal trademark violation. 50 grand. Right. And I'd go after the police academy, I'd go after the police station, and I'd go after the officer. And the thing is, you could destroy qualified immunity very easily, because the thing is that he's attempting to manufacture. He doesn't have qualified immunity to manufacture a security using a federal registered trademark.
Straight up.
Ooh, that has nothing to do with your duties. So he'd be there. Oh, I have qualified immunity. I'm like, okay, so you roam around in this car with lights, and you pull over people who have registered trademarks, and you produce illegal securities. Yeah. Let's call the SEC in on this and see what they have to say about this. You see, up, yeah. That's how I would roll with it, because the thing is that I wouldn't duties of what duties. Yeah. You're attempting to force me. You know, you're forcing me into a commercial contract with a trademarked item, and you can't do that. Yeah. So I would go down, and I think we were talking recently, and you're going to file something soon. We were talking about 42 USC 1983 and 1985. I wanted to ask you about that. Have you ever done any counterclaims? Have you ever gone after anyone? Have you ever done anything offensive in this space, or are you planning on it?
Nah, this is going to be my first one, and it's very exciting. And I think if I really have to give some credit, I think it comes down to seeing what you had go down with the American Express, bro. So I got to straight up, man. I was like, okay, if my boy going to do this, I know I can do this, man. Let me get in this thing. I've been in these court cases, these little courts, and beating these little courts up, and having lawyers say, hey, what law firm are you from? So why not? Like, what? If I'm fooling them like that, I got something going on. So, no, yeah, for real, dude. I think I didn't even make the complaint that is actually based on this next video, which I don't want to watch the whole video, but I do want to watch the first 10, 15 seconds because I go off on them. And this video here, I think what I like about what I did was it allowed me to put myself into a position to allow cops to cause major violations, right? Which allows me to then go after them because of those major violations. Not this one, the other one, brother. So there's another one that's you should see City on the channel. This one right here, right to travel, chief confirmed.
Right to travel,
chief confirmed. On the thumbnail it says it. It's green. It's all green.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Can you hear it?
Yeah. Mute up for a second.
Hey, yeah, boy.
I like the branding. That's fun.
Smoke weed every day.
Got to get the Nate Dogg in there.
What'd you say? What'd you say? Say it one more time. What are we doing? Say that one more time. Don't be a bitch. Don't be a bitch and don't be a pussy. Say it again. Say it again. What are we doing? Say it again so I can show it to the chief. Say it again. Say it again. Say that you're going to violate my rights because it's your town. Say it again. You're a bad example for these police officers. You're a bad example. I ain't giving you nothing. You ain't getting shit out of me.
Okay, now let's roll. You want to see? I got two sides, baby. I can bring it out heavy. Okay, I'll come out heavy on it.
It's one of those things where I believe. Okay, who was it? I think it was Teddy Roosevelt. Speak softly and carry a big stick. I believe that. You have to have it in your back pocket, and the thing is that you just don't use it a lot, but people feel it, man. They feel it. They're like, this guy will fucking, throw it down. But there's a difference between throwing it down in a controlled manner and you're throwing it down for a particular purpose to make a point and to really rattle someone who needs to be rattled. That individual, if he's saying shit like that, he needs to get some checks and balances. He needs to be rebooted a little bit in his wild-eyed skull. And I feel like when you're doing that and it's for a purpose like that, and it's like, hey, you're off the chain. If you're doing this to me, you're doing this to a lot of other people, and now you're going to learn that needs to stop. Yeah. That's a whole different energy when it's sort of like the application of that anger has a greater purpose, right? Rather than just exploding and freaking out and whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm in full agreement of that. And I think and that's why you see a video where like something like that, a lot of those kind of videos, when someone starts acting like that, that's when they get, everybody's tackling them and the windows are getting shattered and everything else, because there's not an underlying intent. That officer, you could tell even by his facial expressions, he knew he was in a bit of trouble right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this whole situation was crazy in itself, but it just comes from me just sitting on the side of the road. I'm just sitting on the side of the road waiting for an appointment. I'm about 30 minutes early. I need to send off some emails, send over some texts. It was nothing crazy. I'm sitting on the side of the road, the plate. Apparently one passed me. Then he did a double back, parked behind me, didn't turn on his lights. My car's off. I'm chilling. It's a great summer day. And he comes and knocks on my goddamn window and I'm just looking at him like, what, bruh? I'm working, And, hey, I saw you didn't have license plates on the back. I wanted to talk to you. I don't want to talk to y'all. Why do y'all want to talk to me about these plates? And, I'm like, I don't want to talk. I'm working, bro. And he's like, oh, you're one of those types. As soon as he said that, he invited me. You're judging me now, huh? I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you what I am. I'm going to show you the type I am, buddy. And that wasn't even this cop that I just cussed out. So I get out and I say, hey, man, you need to call your superior. I really ain't trying to be bothered with y'all right now. He calls out the sergeant. That's the sergeant that came up. And as soon as that sergeant came up, I said, hey, man, I want you guys to leave me alone. Quit harassing me. I'm just trying to mind my own business, okay? And he said, we're not going to stop harassing you because this is our town. That's what he said, just like that. Okay. All right, motherfucker, say it again. Now my phone's on, And once we did that, we went back and forth, tried to threaten me. If I ain't give my IDs, give me a arrest. He's going to cite me. Don't walk off. Well, I call up to the police department. I pull out my other phone. I call up the police department. And I say, y'all need to get a chief up here, somebody, some rank, some superior. Somebody needs to get up here. I'm talking all country, because I'm out in the country, trying to relate to him a little bit. And she's like, well, what's going on? Why they got you detained? I said, they ain't got me detained because I ain't did nothing. I ain't no slave. They send out the chief. The chief of police comes out there with the lieutenant. I got the top dog on site, okay? I'm recording all this shit, bro. And I'm like, what the fucking chief that came out here, bro? I ain't ever in my life got into a situation where I say, y'all get the chief out here. And the chief fucking comes, bro. That was wild,
How you doing there, chief? You know what I mean?
What? It's so hard to get the sergeant, bro. Just getting the sergeant's hard as fuck. Sometimes, it's like, give me your superior. Nah, we're dealing with you right now, buddy. But the chief came out. When the chief came out, I explained to them everything, okay? Kind of like what I did with the other cop out in Hood River. The chief says, boys, round up. Leave them alone. She called off the dogs. The dogs, because they had to tuck their tail, the next day called my job. Call my job, bro. That's harassment. That's retaliation. They tried to get me reprimanded. No crime, no tickets.
What did they say?
Y'all know y'all got an employee out here. He gave us such a hassle yesterday. He's out here cussing a storm and doing us dirty. And this guy's out here driving with no driver's license and, just road dogging me, bro.
What the fuck? What was your job? What were you doing for a job?
Well, I run my own business, but I wear the company's shirt to represent the company. So I'm a consultant for these companies. Okay, they hire me 1099.
So they're calling your clients and saying this shit.
They're calling my clients because I'm wearing the client shirt.
Ooh, that's awful.
That's retaliation and that's harassment. Okay, that's
libel and slander. Libel and slander shit as well.
I got so many in that complaint, and so that's why I kind of, because this is my first one, I forwarded it over to you because it's like, man, my homeboy's getting down on these Amex cases. He's got a law firm now, attorney in fact. Let's see what they can do. You know what I mean? But
no one will talk to me, bro. I'm like, my life is like the polar opposite of literally everything you've been talking about in this show. They come to your window. I wish to fucking God someone would come and knock on my window. I am so lonely. I have to go out and try to play with everybody else by suing everybody under the sun, moon, and stars. And they still won't talk to me, even in the goddamn lawsuit. So I'm literally the total opposite of the spectrum of what you're talking about. I want to talk to them, and they're shutting their windows and shutting their blinds and locking their doors. Motherfucker, hello. I feel like a fucking Mormon. I feel like a fucking Mormon knocking on the door like, hello, I want to talk to you about Jesus Christ. Boom, fucking all the windows.
Brandon, Brandon, you're white, bro. It's not gonna happen, dude. Just saying, bro. It's not gonna happen.
Man, well, shit. You know, maybe I'll melanate my skin and try again. You know what I mean? Fuck. You know what I mean? Fucking A, dude.
No. Oh, bro.
Nobody wants to talk to the fucking white guy. It's a fucking problem, bro. God damn, I'll fucking, you know what I mean? What do I need to do? Get a fucking farmer's tan or something? Will you talk to me then? You know what I mean? It's like, fuck.
I don't know, bro. But, yeah, so this one's, I think, going to be a pretty good suit because they should have never called my job. That's big. The employment side, you know, the police officers ended up leaving a voicemail, so that was great. Yeah, that was great. You just left all the proof we needed.
That's like a whole nother level of I've never heard anything that dumb. That's crazy.
But we did. We sent over 3 different letters. And how this kind of branches off is what I filed was a notice of liability before this situation happened, and I took it up to the police department. And this notice of liability, it stipulated, it's essentially a contract. It stipulates, hey, I'm putting you on notice. You are liable for $100,000 for the first violation of my rights, $200,000 for the second violation, and any violation afterwards is $1 million. And you go and give that to the police chief. And if they accept it, and they say, yeah, we're going to copy this and we'll give it back to you, they have accepted your contract, bro. Yeah. They've accepted your notice. That is acceptance of contract. I don't care what nobody tells you. Yes, it's under common law, but that is an acceptance, bro. You can get an acceptance on a contract verbally.
Yeah.
I know that's within the UCC. You've gone over it.
Yeah,
I've gone over it. Okay. So in that regard, I filed this notice of liability on camera, gave it to him. He accepted it. Do you want me to take a photocopy? Yeah, please do, Chief. Give it back to me. So we're under contract at that point.
You and the Chief hanging out, fucking having drinks and shit. Fucking.
They don't even know. They don't even know what they're doing, bro. That's the thing. They don't even know what they're doing. So yeah, this situation happened maybe about 5 months later, and that's when they called the place of employment. So I sent over 3 letters. With invoices notifying them of their breach of contract, right, of my notice of liability. They didn't answer any of them. Not one, Brandon.
Nobody ever answers anything. I just laugh nowadays because literally no one. I send so much shit, bro. I've probably spent $2,000 just sending shit out over the past couple of years. I don't think I've ever had anybody. I mean, and then the tens or hundreds, tens of thousands of things I've seen people send in. I mean, no one ever responds to literally anything, bro. Ever.
Okay, well, the police department didn't respond. But what I end up doing is I get one of their formal complaint forms through the city attorney or city manager through the city of Ridgefield, because I ended up forwarding all of that over to the commissioner board and the mayor. And then I requested the insurance information. So I filed an insurance claim now for damages. Okay.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, based on the notice of liability. And I let them know, hey, I'm giving you an offer right now, okay? Your client has major violations on our contract that we have. I've given them a notice of liability. I'm giving you an offer to settle this for $400,000 right? No, $175 right now. Go ahead and settle it for $175,000. No worries, okay? And do a proper investigation. They responded back that they were getting involved with the investigation. Guess what happens? That cop that I cussed out, he don't work there no more, bro.
No shit.
He gone. So this is second place to now have been released or relinquished of his duties. Okay. First one was in Portland where he killed somebody when he wasn't supposed to. They let him retire and, come out to Ridgefield now out in the country. Okay. You can go out the country, So he killed somebody in Portland. He got qualified immunity, but the city lost. I think it was like $2.2 million lawsuit. They had to pay that out. So then Sergeant Duran goes out to Ridgefield and he's violating people's rights. And actually this ticket that I got, that I beat, that I just showed y'all, he was involved with. He actually pulled out his gun on us when I went to go get my paperwork. My kids are in the RV, bro. My kids are in the RV. He pulls out his gun. Hey, watch how you're reaching like that. Kids ain't never seen nothing like that go on, bro. So he shows a pattern of just wrong decision. Yeah. So I think we're going to get him on this one once we file this this complaint.
Just real quick on that note, I've already made the mistakes, and everyone out there can learn from my mistakes. When I talk about this in my course, but so you have 18 USC 242, right? So 18 USC 242 is deprivation of rights under color of law. So literally anything that would deprive you of your rights, and if they attempt to say it is the law or they pretend that it is, which it's not, and almost everything is literally almost everything you experience throughout the day you're born till the day you die is a violation of 18 USC 242.
But wait, you got to push it even further. Why is that? Because it's colorable law.
Well, because the thing is that they're I mean,
they're statutes.
Every
law.
So like taxes, sales tax. Literally every single time you are charged sales tax is a violation of 18 USC 242. And the reason why is because you aren't a resident of state of California. You have nothing to do with state of California. You never have. And the thing is that, you know, you're under the impression that you are, and you didn't realize that you were kind of signing up to be treated as though you're in state of California, right? But the thing is the same thing with the driver's license, right? Driver's license is entirely and completely a violation of 18 USC 242, right? Yep. Gas taxes are a violation of 18 USC 242. Cigarette taxes, liquor tax, any tickets you might get, even an officer just stopping you and detaining you to ask you questions without pretending that you aren't allowed to walk away, which, by the way, they just changed that in California. You can literally just run away from the cops immediately, and there's absolutely nothing they can do about it, which has good implications and also bad implications. It goes both ways. You know what I mean? It depends on who you are and what kind of circumstance you're in. If you file a complaint and you want the officer to go and speak to someone who just robbed your liquor store, well, that's going to be tough for you because now in California, the guy who robbed the liquor store, they say, hey, we want to ask you a few questions, and boom, they could just dip out. Nothing anybody can do about it, right? So there's always a double-edged sword to everything. You know what I mean? I mean, everything. Yeah. I'm not necessarily anti or pro any of this. I just like talking about the law. I think it's fascinating. I think that people have rights, and I think that people should be speaking about these various things. We should all be talking about it. We should be talking about where does that line lie, and where should we move it to, and maybe we should change some things. And if everyone's talking about it, we're going to have a better world. That's what I want. I want everybody talking about it, right? Yep. So 18 USC 242 is when you have one individual person doing some stuff, right? And then the conspiracy, meaning two or more people working together in unison to willfully, get you on your rights, is 18 USC 241. So 18 USC 242. If someone, let's say one officer pulls you over, and you clearly tell the officer this vehicle was not engaged in the transportation of any cargo, property, or persons for any fee, rate, charge, or other consideration, which is the exact wording from 18 USC 31, right?
You're good.
And then I also tell the officer that, myself as an individual, I am not a resident of state of California or any of the 50 states, or also the District of Columbia, which in a lot of Title 49 and stuff like that is considered a state. So, sometimes I forget to say that one, and I always remind myself, you always want to add that in if you're talking about the Title 49 or whatnot. So by saying all of that and clearing all that up, you've basically informed the officer that if he does anything now the way that qualified immunity works is that he has a duty, and then he's trying to discharge that duty, and that's where obstruction comes in. So if there's a duty and the officer is trying to discharge that duty, anything that would prevent that officer from discharging that duty would be obstruction. All right, and that's the way it works in the legal world, right? But the thing is that if he's basing his duty on a commercial code, the California Vehicle Code, the CVC, then the thing is that he doesn't have qualified immunity, and there would be no objection because he's actually operating on a false duty. Because he's operating on a false duty, and you've tried to inform him of that duty on camera, now you have willfully. Yeah. So willfully is a tricky point, right? Are they aware of the fact that they're about ready to move into an 18 USC 242, right? And then if you have more than one officer and you clearly tell both officers and they continue to misbehave thinking that they have a duty under a commercial aspect involving a non-commercial vehicle, which in California would be defined as an automobile definition, California. So California, some states don't have specific definitions for both, but California does. You have an automobile as a passenger vehicle that does not transport persons for hire, and then you have a commercial vehicle is one that does. So I'd like you to let you know, officer, this is actually an automobile. This is not a commercial vehicle, right? Now, at that point, if both officers have been made aware of the fact that this is the situation, and they continue to misbehave and they continue to pretend as though they have this duty when they don't. Now we're looking at 18 USC 241, which is conspiracy against your rights. This is up to 10 years in prison for both officers, or if there's 3 or 4 of them, it'd be up to 10 years in prison for all of them that were informed of this information. Now, the problem is you can't use Title 18 in a civil case. So let's say you want to go and you want to hit them for 18 USC 241. You're going to have to write a proposed indictment and get that approved through your local DA, or I don't really know exactly how all that works. But what you're going to use is you're going to use the civil side, the same exact thing on the civil side. So the civil version of 18 USC 242, which is an individual, not a group, under conspiracy, is 42 USC 1983. See, civil action for deprivation of rights. And then for the conspiracy version, which is the 18 USC 241 version, you're going to use 42 USC 1985. And this is where the big money is going to come. If you hit them with 42 USC 1985, this is when you're looking at your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, $20 million lawsuits.
You know what? This is good. I'm glad you brought that up, and you did bring this up to me when I shared the complaint, and I really appreciate that. That's awesome. You really helped me figuring that out. What I wanted to say too is this might tie into the Eddie Craig script a little bit better too, because if you're giving them notice and they willfully violate after you're giving them notice, right? Then you're tying in now to civil action, and that's where I guess it's more entertaining for me, is the aspect that, hey, I'm flexing my rights and I got the knowledge, but if you want to go ahead and violate them, feel free, Yeah. And so that's where I guess it really kind of hits home a little bit more, is just putting it to action. And now it's time to put it to action. So,
yeah, using terms like, for me, it's very simple. I would never say I have rights and all this stuff about rights. I'd say I'm a foreign diplomat, and I'm protected under 18 USC 112 as an internationally protected person. Most officers know diplomats, you just don't do anything with them. They don't really know much more than that. They just know, shit, this is something I need to actually look at or think about or whatever. And then the other thing is I just tell everybody I'm an attorney, which I am. So the thing is I'm a foreign diplomat and an attorney. It's like, holy Jesus, this is the last guy in the world we want to fuck with. But I don't say it in a way that's like, you better watch out there, motherfucker. I just say it very, very matter of fact. It's just, I am this, and I just so happen that I am this as well. It's very simple,
Yeah. I think for you, you're already in a position where you already got the passport and you already got the trademark and you got everything going. So for the DOT and all that, it's going to take some time for everybody, including myself, right? I'm just now getting the apostille on the federal side. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, you can operate how you want, whether it's right to travel without going all the way through the process, like, you're teaching and how you're getting.
There's a lot of guys that they drive around like no plates, like literally nothing.
Yeah.
And they're just like, fuck it. And they get pulled over and they just do. And for me, I don't, whatever. I don't care. I really don't. I don't have a concern about any of it. I'll tell you what, the diplomatic plates, they sure are. They sure do create a lot of conversations, which I like that. That's what I like the most about the diplomatic plates.
Yeah.
They get a lot of fucking people talking. Anyone who sees them is talking about it to their friends. You could sit. So park the car and then sit over here by the bush on a thing and like pretend as though it's not your car. Every motherfucker walking past that thing, they're taking pictures, they're talking about it. So I like that a lot because it gets people talking, and then it has the Amnesty Coalition on it.
Yep.
And then they type that into the internet, and it goes straight to all my shit. You're not going to find anything all the way down Google. It's only like 5 different things you're going to see when you type it in. It's a new website.
Yeah.
But it's all my shit. Boom, you're going to go right to it.
That's
so
awesome.
the information is available and everything. So I like it because, again, the whole point of everything that I do is I think that more and more people need to talk about what's going on, what are the definitions of the words. We need to clarify these things. We do need to understand this better, and maybe we do need to move the goalposts or change what really is classified as a commercial vehicle and what's not, and clean all this up, because it seems like there's a lot of states where they've removed some of the wording in terms of separating out these two things, and the term motor vehicle in a lot of the definitions tends to include non-commercial vehicles, or at least it's so vague that it allows that confusion to take place. And, I don't know a whole lot about the history, but it appears that the word motor vehicle and the word driver used to be literally in the law, the word chauffeur. So the thing is, they changed the term from chauffeur to driver, and I'm sure they knew exactly what they were doing when they did that.
Yeah.
But, these words need to be clarified, and there needs to be multiple words, and they need to have just one definition each, and everything needs to be kind of tied down, rather than this giant blob of horse shit that just causes nothing but confusion. You know what I mean?
That is so true. I mean, the dot way, I think, is probably going to be the best route to go. No doubt, especially in conjunction with the trust or in any kind of organization, union, or anything that you're doing. I think that ultimately is the best way to go. I think if you're on your way to getting to that point, I think you could also utilize your right to travel too. And I think what that's going to do to you is, first off, you don't got to pay nothing, okay? Like you showing up to court gets it to where you don't get a warrant. And if they try to put something to say, hey, you're guilty, you need to pay these tickets, who's going to make you pay it? That's number one, right? Who's going to make you pay it?
Well, also, once you understand the negotiable instruments, you can just endorse the goddamn things and turn them back in, and then they just disappear. We've got a lot of stories of that as well. So using without recourse, which is a qualified endorsement, we've got tons of people. I have so many. I mean, literally, I knew it was going to work. There's no question about it. But they endorse without recourse on the citation, and the citation literally just vanishes. We have tons of those, just tons. So I mean, you can get pulled over. You can get pulled over and be like, "Hey, what's your quota?" I mean, I'm serious. What do you need? You fucking hit me with all of it, bro. Go home. You know what I mean? Seriously, what do you guys need to go home right now? Well, we need 15 more. Put them on there, 15 of them. I'll sign it right now. Stack them up. You know what I mean? Because when you sign without recourse, then they get their quota. You never have to perform. They go home early, and then you can just move on with your day, and everyone's happy.
Bro, think of what if we was able to really get cool with the cops like that.
Yeah, I'm serious.
Hey, bro, just slide me about 15. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, I got 400 pounds of dope in the trunk, bro. Hit me, bro. I got you, bro. What you got? You got a girl on the side? What she missing you? You got to go home. What time you got to be home for your wife? It's 6 o'clock. You want to hit your girl up? It's only 2 now, bro. You can get up there. You got a motel. What do you do? You know what I mean? I got you, bro.
I think DOT way, the way that you're teaching, is probably going to be the best bet to go. And some of my sources, as far as some of the other people that I think as far as doing things are also saying, good to go on that aspect. The only thing I can really say is that, the sovereign citizen movement, everybody talking down on sovereign citizens or just putting any kind of people that actually are standing up for the right to travel in that group, you got to stop doing that. Because there are people like me that actually go out here and fight and win in court and got cops that are actually stating what I'm saying is true after putting me in handcuffs, which is pretty crazy in itself. But where they'll also have to tuck their tails and call, my place of employment. So apparently something is moving to where I'm doing something right, because I haven't gotten punched, beat up, thrown in jail, or arrested, or my car towed over it thus far. And I know I've gotten pulled over at least 10 times, some with tickets, some without. But at least with those tickets, we beaten them bad boys. So that's been good.
You've beaten every single ticket, every single one?
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, it's not a problem. So when we get in there, it's just filing the paperwork. And then I need to get the one from Tigard. I have one more in Tigard, and I have one more in Marion County. Actually, I have one more. It's Marion County. I have one more in Clark County. But when I filed my notice of abatement and my memorandum, they never sent me anything back. It dropped. It was just gone. They didn't send me a dismissal. I think I had just filed the paperwork before my even arraignment. My arraignment completely dropped off. I went to call and check the arraignment date. Say, I'm still good for arraignment on this day. No, sir, you're not on the docket. Okay. That's it. A couple of them actually happened like that. I have one in Portland to where it was on my dash cam, and they put me in handcuffs, put me in the back of their car. Then they walked. Man, I need to put all these up. Actually, I think that was a short on my channel. They walked up to my car and my dash cam's still going, and they said, "That's Cameron? Yeah, that's Cameron Wilson. Yeah, that's it." And the guy's like, "Oh, dash cam," and they all walk away real slowly, and then that one disappeared. Yeah, that court, man. So I got a lot of them. Got completely wiped away. They were just gone, flexing a little bit on them with some paperwork. But ultimately, I think the long-term goal is to get to the DOT. And I think doing it the way you're doing it with your own plates, that's pretty cool. I like it. But if you want to fight in court too, get
I used to do just it looks like normal state plates like Florida,
Yep.
and then it has the DOT number on it.
Yep.
But then I switched to the diplomatic plates because I wanted to kind of see how that would work. And I find it more fascinating. I find it more honest, to be totally truthful with you.
But have you had to deal with any kind of law enforcement yet?
No, they smile and wave when they see my car with those plates, bro.
That's awesome.
Good to see you. I smile and wave too, though. I'm like, hey guys, how you doing? Good to see you guys. Good to see you guys. You guys look good today.
Yeah.
I'm like the mayor on a float.
Awesome.
The parade, bro. I'm just fucking.
Yeah.
That's how
good.
I do it.
That's good. So,
I want to see, what I want to see is I want to see more people going on the offensive, and not in an angry, vengeful way. I want to see counterclaims, and I want to see a lot of 42 USC 1983 and 1985 being filed. And I want to see like a lot of this going down, because if this starts to go down, first off, you're going to get paid very well, which you should be compensated for your time being wasted and the anxiety. If you've got kids in the car or your wife in the car, that should all be compensated, not from a point of revenge, from a point of justice.
Justice, yeah.
Big difference, right?
Yep, there is a big difference.
And I think people really should be compensated. And I think that when people begin to realize that the weights of justice have been misaligned because of that activity, and they need to be realigned through some sort of compensation or some sort of repairing the damage that has been committed on your life and your rights. And I think that it should come from a point of view of that by doing that, you're going to get paid, but by doing that, you're actually fixing the system. Because the thing is that if everyone started filing 42 USC 1985 claims, do you realize that traffic police and citations and getting pulled over and the highway patrol would just cease to exist literally like tomorrow, like 24 hours? There shouldn't be, it's one thing that you have sheriffs driving around and they're going from one place to the next and someone does something that causes an accident. Okay, now at that point, you're going to get pulled over because there's something that you've done that's harmed other people, and we need to investigate the situation and get it clarified. But this whole like speed limits and stop signs and all this kind of crazy, just random victimless whatever, they're all 42 USC 1983. And the cool thing about getting more than one officer involved, if you do want to do it on a tactical basis, is by asking for other officers and by waiting and sandbagging and allowing them to call for backup, which they always do. Now you don't have a 42 USC 1983 claim. Now you are upgraded to a conspiracy charge. Conspiracy typically is going to pay out 10 times more than a 1983 claim. So what I would do is, hey, you better call backup, man. What are you doing? You're just one guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm going to keep my hands on the steering wheel, but you probably want to call all other agents over here. Let's get the sheriff out here. Let's get the chief of police out here and everybody else.
Yeah.
And then I'd have a dog and pony show. I'd have 15 cop cars out there. And then I'd say, well, hold on a second there. Are you detaining me or are you arresting me? And they go, oh, we're detaining you. I go, what's the definition of detain versus what's the definition of arrest?
Yeah.
That's it. And by that point, we've got a 42 USC 1985 claim, and I'm about ready to get paid massively. I'm about ready to retire.
Yeah.
So
there's got to be at some point though that there will be some reform. I think with everything that's going on right now with our generation, our age group, By the time we get somewhere a little bit older, there's going to be some reform because people ain't putting up with it no more, man. They're tired of it, you know?
You ever see the old videos? I saw this old video. It was from like the late 60s, early 70s, and it was some podunk town in the middle of nowhere in like Nebraska. And they were on the news, and they're like, you know, they just illegalized drinking and driving, and they're all talking about, you know, this is bullshit. They're like, this is bullshit. Like, you know, I work hard, I work all day, and man just wants to enjoy himself a drink on the way home, and he's fucking, you know, it's hilarious, bro. That's what we need to get back to. I mean, I'll tell you what, you know, people in the big cities, they don't realize where I'm from. We call them, and I'm serious, they call them road sodas. I mean, drinking a domestic fucking beer, a 4%, 4.2% Miller High Life when you're driving, that's just what everyone does, and it's not like a big deal. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the fucking cops drink and drive where I'm from. So, and no one's crashing into, you know, everybody. There's not, you think, oh, there's got to be piles of cars and burning bodies and all this. No, I mean, you honestly never even see anybody get into a fucking accident. The only people who are getting in accidents are people who hit black ice in the winter and they lose control of their vehicle and they careen off the road. That's typically the only time you ever see anybody in an accident. Everybody's fucking drinking. They may not be drunk, but they're drinking while driving. So it's, you know, I'm not necessarily saying that I support drinking and driving, because I know a lot of people have lost loved ones and that kind of thing. I'm just saying there's a conversation that needs to be had about these things. And to pull someone over, you know, and because they've got a beer between their legs. I mean, all of Indiana you'd take every single goddamn car out of the whole fucking state if you did that. I don't know what to tell you. You know, it's just... and I'm sure Nebraska and Montana and South Dakota and North Dakota, and I could go on and on and on. I'm sure half the fucking states in America, everyone's drinking and driving. So, you know, it's just one of those things where it's like, okay, how do we do this? You know, like, what if we made it, you know, if there was somebody who was hurt, if there was somebody who was damaged, if there was damage, if they are drinking or if they are drunk and there's actual damage or harm, it creates a 5x penalty or a 10x penalty as to what would have happened if you weren't drunk when that occurred. That makes more sense to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's other solutions. This whole Minority Report pre-crime thing where it's like, oh, we're trying to prevent everything. Any sort of statute that attempts to prevent crime always winds up in 1984. That's the backbone. That's the spinal cord of the entire dystopian nightmare, in my opinion. So, there's a lot of things that need to be talked about. I'm not saying that I have all the answers. It's just that pre-crime and crime prevention is the biggest crock of shit in the world. It's not an American thing. It's not an American idea.
Not even close. I think the most American thing is actually enforcing the aspect that we have true freedom and not regulation, right? Because it's very repugnant to try and self-regulate a free man. That's crazy to me. And that aspect alone is just wild. And that's why I think I stand up so much for this, is just due to the fact that, hey, I'm going to stand up on my rights. I know my capacity, who I am, that you have no power. And that's why I go in these courts and did what I did for a year and a half, just to get the experience of knowing how these law enforcement are going to operate, of course, how the courts are going to operate with me while standing in the capacity with reasoning, right? Because it's not as though I'm coming in to say, right off the bat, you know, like, yeah, I'm basing this all off the Constitution. It comes off of just logic, just being a living being. Like, what makes you think, like, me not harming someone, that you can bring harm against me? Like, what kind of sense does that make whatsoever? And I think once you get to a person really that's reasonable while speaking in the right manner with knowing and capacity of who you are, I think people start to really resonate, because that energy flows. Like, we're energetic beings. So when you pushing out that energy, it's almost like some kind of empathy is flowing directly to them through the words that you use. Because words are like spells. It's like magic in a sense. When you use it in the right way, in conjunction with energy, there's no doubt about it. That's 100%. I do it all the time. I do it every day with my customers. So I think it's just learning that aspect of it. And then just knowing who you are. That is like the most powerful thing. Once you know who you are, really nothing phases you. You really don't even get offended. You don't get offended by them even say, oh, you're guilty. I mean, it's like, really? What? What does that mean? But yeah, I think really the DOT way is the way to go. If you have to do the right to travel aspect, follow the motions and get a little bit more experience in the courtroom being a pro se litigant, um, it's not going to bring any harm. You're just going to empower yourself more and more. And I think that's the most important thing is just empowering yourself. So,
yeah, I think the most important part is naturalization, which I know I talk about a lot in my stuff, which I know you're aware of. If you're naturalized into state of California, you don't have the right to travel. If you're naturalized into California state or the unincorporated California, you do have the right to travel. So depending on your naturalization, this is like, you can debate it and go into whatever, but like on the technical end of things, this whole huge conversation, this huge argument that's all over the internet, it's so funny because you'll post a video about infinite money, post a video about nationality and citizenship, post a video about fucking never paying taxes again. I don't get much in terms of hate and people upset and all this. You post fucking right to travel, everybody fucking loses their mind, bro. Everybody. I'm like, oh no, I don't pay any bills. I don't even live in the United States. They're like, oh, that's okay. I don't pay taxes. Oh no, that's okay. No problem. And then you're like, oh, and I drive my car without a driver's license, and they just fucking lose their fucking mind. I'm like, bro, what is wrong with people when it comes to this fucking subject? The subject is so simple. On the one side, they say, I have the right to travel, which is true. On the other side, they say driving is a privilege, which is also true. So it's so stupid because the thing is that, it's like saying the sky is, one side says the sky is blue, and the other side says concrete is gray. The sky is blue, concrete is gray. The sky is blue, concrete is gray. And I'm like, bro, you guys are both right. The sky is blue and concrete is gray. Shut the fuck up. But the thing is that where you are naturalized into or what activities that you are doing determine whether you're doing that or doing this. So if you're naturalized into state of California, which means that you're a resident of this business listed on Dun & Bradstreet called State of California, driving is a privilege.
Yep. If
you're naturalized into the unincorporated California Republic, or I don't even say it. I don't even say that I'm a resident or a domicile. It's just so confusing to people, and no one can understand any of it. And it's so impossible that it's keep it very simple. I'm not a resident of the state of California. I'm not a resident of any of the 50 states, and the District of Columbia is considered a state in most titles. I'm also not a resident of the District of Columbia. And then at that point, they don't know what to fucking think or do, and they're just lost in this like abyss. But now at least we can have a conversation. If I say I'm not a resident of the state of California, I actually domicile in the unincorporated California, that's sovereign citizen shit. They don't want to hear it. They shut down, and now everything goes to shit. I don't say the second part. I don't say I'm not driving, I'm traveling. I just say I'm not driving.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. Why do I need to tell you what I am doing? You told it's like a complaint. They write a complaint on you and they submit it into the court. It says this person is driving. What's my response? No, I'm not. That's my whole response. I got what else? What? Oh no! And I had 16 pounds of groceries in the trunk, and you wouldn't believe it, but the local gas prices were so high that day that I only put 3 gallons of gas in, and it was actually mid-grade because I couldn't afford premium that day. And I started having pinging because the octane level was so low and my compression on my engine so high. I started getting pinging, so I got a little nervous. So then I started, and it's like, bro, none of that has to do with anything. He said you're driving. I ain't driving. That's the end of the fucking story. That's the end of the fucking story, bro. Good conversation. Conversation's over. Yeah. I don't qualify to do that. I don't qualify to drive. Yeah. I can't do it. Yeah. I can't have a license to do something that I can't do. I can't get a fucking license. I can't get fucking insurance. If I don't get the license, I don't qualify for the license. If you know what? Are you trying to get me thrown in prison, officer? Yeah. That's the question. Because the thing is, if I go down there to the DMV and I sign a fucking document that says that I'm a resident of the state of California, I go to prison.
See, you know what's crazy is that I don't know what's up with all the hate on the videos itself, because I feel as though, I don't know, man. I guess it just comes down to how I operate inside the car with these cops. I just, I give them my name. I never give ID. I tell them straight up off the bat. They're like, "Hey, give me your license, registration, insurance." I don't got a driver's license. What do you mean? Is it suspended? No, I got no contracts with the state, man. I ain't got no contract. And I think once they start to just understand, man, he ain't got no suspended license. He ain't got no contracts with the state, and they run my name and it comes back clear. They're just like, well, there's not much we can do. Maybe we just give them the ticket and let them deal with it in court. And I don't know. That's how it's just operated with me this whole time. I don't know how it operates with other people, but
I'm just glad to hear you never got your cars towed. And I think a lot of that comes down to just being calm and not being a dick, because I've heard every single story. So every single time I've ever heard I got my car towed and now I'm in prison.
Yeah.
I always ask how it went. And then as soon as they say, "Well, this son of a bitch pulled me over, it's gotten cocksucking pig," I'm already, okay. I've already got it all figured out. The easiest fucking investigation I ever did in my life. I know exactly what happened. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And every single time it's the same conversation. And,
But at the same time, I do cover up my VINs.
Okay.
I always cover up my VIN. So when anybody ever pulls me over in any kind of interaction, it's like with the Ridgefield police. They were like, "I think our main concern," when the lieutenant and captain, "I think our main concern was we wanted to check the VIN." You ain't going to see it. That's why I tell them, you ain't going to see it. Well, we just want to see it. You're not going to see it. I'm sorry. You can request it all you want, but it's not going to happen. And they just have to back down because they know they're in the wrong. If they push any more than that, then they know they're seriously violating, right? So I always would keep my VIN covered up. Again, the private plates on the front and the black or the back, not for hire traveler. So even though it brings a lot of attention, it does bring a lot of attention. I won't lie. If there's cops around, it's bringing attention. They're like, "Huh? Oh, it's a sovereign. Let's go get him."
I know a couple people. I know one couple, and they have this really nice Mercedes. It's like a AMG blob, whatever the fuck, $130,000 car. They drive around with plates just like yours. Blows my fucking mind. And they told me, they're like, "Yeah, it's been like a year. We've never gotten pulled over." And that's another thing. Because I'll tell you what, of all the people that I know that are getting pulled over with these and getting their fucking windows smashed and everything, it's always like a fucking Ultima, or a. And I always laugh because it's like I'm a part of this Facebook group called Big Ultima Energy, bro. That shit's so fucking funny, bro. The Ultima culture, that shit kills me, right? But it's kind of one of those things where it's like you, and I put right on my website, I'm like, you drive around with diplomatic plates on a 1994 Toyota Corolla that has been smashed in the front, smashed in the back, and one of the windows is smashed out. And I'm like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen, bro? Like, my shit gets dusty and I fucking get it washed. Yep. Literally, like, my car's not even dirty. People are like, "Why are you cleaning this thing?" It's like, because it's a fucking diplomatic chariot. It's not a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Because the thing is that a diplomat is not going to drive around in a fucking ratty pile of shit. So, like, a cop sees a ratty piece of shit smoking and there's smoke billowing out of it, and they see a fucking diplomat plate. Oh, no. Something ain't adding up here. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't require a fucking rocket scientist to figure that one out. You know what I'm saying? So it just fucking, like, people don't have common sense, bro. It's like no fucking common sense in these things. So yeah, I mean, there's so many different things you can do. You can do the private motor carrier DOT. I went and changed my driver's license, and it was a CO on the address, care of, and it was without prejudice, and I signed as the agent on behalf of the principal, and I did no to U.S. citizen. And they had no problem with that, and they issued me a new license, and I had that license for probably a year and a half. And then finally one day something happened, and I said, "That's it, Brandon, you need to quit being a little bitch." And that's when I went down and I got rid of it for good. And but I know a lot of people, look, I'm one of those kind of people. I didn't do any of that shit. I wanted to stay under the radar, at least to some degree. I didn't want to get into any of the shit that you were getting into. I mean, now I'm okay with that. Now it's fine. But I mean, just when you understand the diplomatic stuff alone, you can start putting people in prison. They can't stop you. They can't, if you say, I'm on my way to a diplomatic meeting, there's actually laws, 18 U.S.C. 112, that say that if they try to stop you from even moving, it literally says, I think in 18 USC 112, we can pull it up right now. It says literally it includes the car, the place of travel, the home. 18 USC 112. Protection of foreign officials, official guests, and internationally protected persons. Whoever assaults, strikes, wounds, imprisons, or offers violence to, or makes any other violent attack upon the person or liberty of such a person.
Yeah, the liberty right there, that's a big one. Just including liberty itself.
Or, look at this, it gets even more vague, or likely to endanger his person or liberty.
Oh, so just the likelihood of
just pulling me over violates. Even getting behind me and putting your lights on and then going around me would be a violation of 18 USC 112.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the thing is that, it says here, look, makes a violent attack upon his official premises, private accommodation, or means of transport, or attempts to commit any of the foregoing. And then we have, whoever willfully, and then let's see.
Harass could be thrown in there. That was A under that second section.
They can't do anything. They can't stop. I mean, they can't even, even asking me a question could be a violation of 18 USC 112.
And it looks as though right there under E, it's, is that also for a national?
Yeah, well, a diplomat would be a national. They're a national of their own country.
Yep.
So a national of South Korea would be an official guest in the United States, right? But a lot of these terms are all, you can even see here all the terms that they use. A lot of them, some of them have special definitions, but they're all used here. Foreign government, foreign official, internationally protected person, international organization, national of the United States, and official guest. So, I use all these terms. Oh, no, I'm an official guest, sir. I'm not a resident of the state of California. I'm actually an official guest of the United States as per 18 USC 112. If you want to get them really shaking in their boots, you say internationally protected person.
That sounds good. I think that would probably be best.
But, the whole diplomat thing, it comes down to mindset. That's really where it comes down to, because if you say you're a diplomat and you got diplomatic plates and in your mind you don't really have that on lockdown, that could be a pretty bad situation, So you have to really know and really understand how that works and really understand the laws and really understand that you really are, and then really step into that.
Yep.
And then when you do, they'll treat you as one. They really do,
Yep. That's why I say it's all about knowing. Whatever you know yourself to be is what you are.
Yeah.
And when you act in that capacity and manner, you're good to go. So, well, hey, man, this has been a cool one, bro. This has been really cool, bro.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. I love your energy. That's the main reason why I wanted to have you on. I love the energy. I know people are going to say, oh, fucking this and that and bullshit and the way he did it. And I don't care. I think the energy of how things are addressed and how things are handled is obviously you're getting pulled over many, many times. You never got your shit towed. You beat all the tickets. If you didn't have the energy, those things wouldn't have gone that way. You would have a whole history of towed vehicles and police beating the shit out of you and God knows what else. So it just comes down to energy. You can do almost anything with the right energy.
Yeah. But also knowledge. You got to be able to quote some of these things, man.
Oh, of course.
The statutes. When they start asking you questions and you ain't got nothing to back it up with any kind of numerical codes that you can pop off on them, bro, they gonna hit you, bro.
You just smile like, high five, brother. You know what I mean? And they're like, all right, let's break his window out. You know what I mean?
if all you're saying is, I heard of, the First Amendment says like that ain't gonna work, bro. You're gonna have to go beyond just the First, Second, Fifth Amendment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got to stand on it a little bit, and you got to start to educate these cops, because when you start to stand in the position of educating them, and you're saying, hey, look, from what I'm seeing, this is what this says, right? When you're in Washington, if any of y'all are out there in Washington, remember that Justice Tolman stated that you don't need insurances, you don't need registration, you don't need a license to travel on the roads that you own. So it's like, if your own Supreme Court justice is saying that within your state, use it. Just use it and see where it's going to get you, and see if you can start to change the minds of your local government, because it all comes down to you making the change in the first place, right? So
Yeah, I imagine a lot of these justices and a lot of these people who have said these things, they want to see the change take place, and they're probably sad to see all the bullshit out there, and maybe they just don't know how to handle it or what. I don't know. I mean, it'd be great if we could actually interview some of these guys and say, hey, you said this, and where are you at on this, and speak more about that. Maybe they're really nervous to speak more about it. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why they would say these things in an official capacity and then not want to go out and
yeah,
toot the horn on it and get it done. But maybe they're just overwhelmed. I know the typical Maine federal judge, I believe, this is before the Chevron doctrine was overruled. I think the average caseload is 600 cases. They have magistrate judges that underneath them that help them operate, but I don't know how these courts stay organized. I don't know how they handle things. Now you have the Chevron doctrine being overruled, so now they're going to get a massive inflow of additional cases they're going to deal with, and then now they got to deal with us, and we're probably going to be worse than the goddamn Chevron doctrine being overturned, because as I start to teach more and speak more, I mean, we've got so many people going into litigation, it's unbelievable. So the thing is that the system is under tremendous strain, and it's going to continue to be so. So they're going to need to hire a lot more judges, which is a good problem to have. Here we are. What are we doing? We're helping the fucking U.S. court system expand and get bigger and survive better. And so, we're over here just sending business into the businesses. You know what I mean?
Yep. And the gun rights too. That's getting traction right now too. Gun rights for felons is moving pretty. There's a lot of traction getting moved around for that aspect as well right now.
Yeah.
I think I heard about that being changed and some things moving around. So yeah, I mean, we're in the age of enlightenment, bro. Like AI is here, and it's really just ramping up. So as we continue to just get more and more educated on all fronts and really kind of just tie it down, I think it's going to allow for a lot of change. But yeah, we're the proponents of that change. The change is us. So
I
just
agree.
got to keep pushing it. Yeah. Well, cool
All
deal,
right,
bro.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. I appreciate it so
sir.
much, and get this sent out. Anything else you want to say? Any other plug you want to plug in? Any other websites, or just you want to just go to the YouTube channel, or anything else you want to plug in?
Yeah. If people are just interested in learning on the right to travel, and you want to see someone that's actually done it with solid proof without being called a sovereign citizen, after getting put in handcuffs and then getting let go and not given one goddamn ticket. I mean, how often does that happen? Okay. Not very much. And then how often do those people go to court and actually win after they do file the motions? Not many. So I think, maybe you can learn something from my channel. Go to my channel. It's all free, man. That's what we do this for. We're just trying to educate the people. So
I love it, man. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah. We'll talk soon again sometime.
Hell yeah.
All right, brother. Later.
Later.